Longer part of Mexico, and after that pronouncement, the Mexican general Santa Anna soundly defeated the small group of Texans defending the Alamo.
And then in Goliad, his army captured Colonel James Fannin and his forces. The Mexican army then executed 342 of the soldiers, included Fannin. Tonight, our Michael Gibson takes us to Goliad, where all the action took place at the National Historic Landmark, Presidio La Bahia.
March 27, 1836. It's Palm Sunday, but there's no religious observation taking place at Goliad's Presidio La Bahia. Instead, there's a slaughter going on. A Mexican officer's companion, Franchita Alvarez, saved a number of people from being executed, but not even the Angel of Goliad could stop the bloodshed.
It was through these gates that the men were brought out in 3 groups, taken in 3 different directions, told 3 different stories, and by the time they got about 3/4 of a mile from the fort, they were shot. Those who were not immediately shot were either bayoneted or lanced to death.
General Santa Anna, fresh from defeating the Texans at the Alamo, got word that his forces had captured Colonel James Fannin and his Texas Militia just outside of Goliad. He ordered his officers to execute the Texans. Even the injured and bedridden Colonel Fannin was not spared.
He had made 3 requests. Wanted to be shot in the heart, not the face. The second, that his personal possessions be sent to his family. And the third, that he be given a Christian burial. He was shot in the face. The soldiers took his personal possessions, and his body was burned along with many of the other bodies.
The killing of 342 soldiers here at Goliad looked to be a final crushing defeat for Texas independence. Instead, the Texas Army at San Jacinto used it as part of their battle cry. Remember the Alamo, remember Goliad. Santa Anna and his Mexican army were crushed.
I love what I do. I learn so much, and especially when I get to work locally on a project, I learn more about Texas history than I ever did in school.
Suzanne McGarrah is working on bringing the Presidio's rich and colorful history back to life. She's busy mounting some of the many artifacts discovered here. New displays are going in here at the Presidio's Museum, a place which used to be the officers' quarters. Drew Patterson is in charge of the restoration project and believes that this is the place to be on March 2nd if you're looking to celebrate Texas Independence Day.
They'll get a real sense of why the Presidio La Bahia was important to the Revolution and why it was important in Texas Spanish colonial times.
The Presidio was completely restored in the 1960s after it had fallen into ruins. It's the oldest standing fort west of the Mississippi. Inside is the original chapel. It was built during the time of the American Revolutionary War. I'm sitting here inside the Our Lady of Loretto Chapel at Presidio La Bahia doing the same thing people have been doing since 1779, soaking in this big part of Texas history. Speaking of historical, the director of the Presidio La Bahia, Newton Warzeka, showed us something that's also weathered time.
It is really amazing that we have the original doors to the chapel.
Another eye-catching piece of history is this fresco painted back in 1946. It's a depiction of the Annunciation. That's when the angel Gabriel appeared to Mary. Corpus Christi artist Antonio Garcia used South Texas as the setting. There's a rattlesnake in the picture, even the Presidio. And if you look closely, you can even see Gabriel. He has 6 toes.
Mr. Garcia just looked me straight in the eye, and in a very kind voice he said, I might add he was 93 years old at the time, he said, well, do you know how many toes angels have? Maybe he knew something that the rest of us don't know.
Here's something else many of you may also want to know about. The last weekend in March is when the clock will be turned back here at the Presidio. It will appear to be 1836, and the massacre of Fannin and his troops will be recreated. A Texas history lesson you can only find here, right in your own backyard. Michael Gibson, 3 News.